Gwen, Lord of Sunlight, father of the First Flame, and the leader of the army that overcame the everlasting dragons, ending the Age of Grey, and starting the Age of Fire. With the Age of Fire came affluenity for the lords, and for man. With man's new affluence came the fading of the First Flame, and the fading of Gwen's power. In a desperate attempt to preserve the Age of Fire, and himself, Gwen asks the Witch of Izalith for help. With the power of her Lord Soul and pyromancy, she attempts to recreate the First Flame, but what is born is uncontrollable and wretched, consuming her and her many children, transforming them, and giving birth to all demons. With the self-imposed threat faced, Gwen sent his faithful Silver Knights. Those Silver Knights that survived were changed. Their armor and shields became blackened, with high fire resistance. When facing these large foes, weapons that reflected as such were needed, and thus the Black Knights were born. Black Knights were Gwen's special forces, sent on solo missions to roam the lands, slaying demons. This reminds me of the Berserk manga, during the Black Swordsman arc, where Guts went around slaying demons. I love the shout out to an amazing series. On with the lore. With the First Flame dying and faced with no other options, Gwen sent out with the strongest remaining forces, those being the Black Knights, to link the First Flame. When he did so, he prolonged the Age of Fire as intended. But as the Witch of Izalith gave birth to demons, Gwen shattered both space and time, both incinerating and spreading the astral bodies of the Black Knights, both killing them and immortalizing them. To requisition this particular weapon, you must first go to the Unattended Graves, Champion Gundir's bonfire to be precise. From there, you run out to the Dark Firelink Shrine and attack the first enemy you see. Surprise, surprise! It's a Black Knight with a Black Knight Greataxe. Dispose of him whatever way you see fit to requisition your weapon. I also like to use the rusty coins, gold or copper as they do not stack, and the symbol of avarice and covetous gold serpent ring as they do stack with the coins. Reverse backstepping and backstepping are going to be the first moves I'll be talking about. They're good for one-handed parry baits, they have fast recovery time by comparison, they're really good to close the distance, they have amazing hitbox range, and they're good for linking together combos. The hyper armor starts about 3/4 of the way through the animation. You can be interrupted while backstepping or running, and this move is extremely parryable. It's one of the faster moves with the Greataxe, so I'll kind of be using it a lot throughout the video. The next attack I'll be talking about is the R1. This is a huge 270-degree lateral swing. Near the end of the animation, there's a few frames to link into the next, allowing you to space out your attack timing differently to disorient your enemy. This move is good for parry baits, roll attack follow-ups. No lock on phantom range on this is amazing. It's very parryable though, and it has long recovery time, so use wisely. The R1 hyper armor lasts about 80% of the animation, but has a slow startup time, and you're left open after each swing. Here's a few fights to show you what I mean. In this, the fight starts with a nice R1 combo doing massive damage and staggering the shit out of him. I follow up with an R2 landing the Phantom Stagger. Next, he throws an R1 hit check when I'm already rolling away. The running attack Phantom staggers me, he then follows up with an R1 hit check, misses, and decides to go with the L1, which I parry. I pretty much won that match because of the huge swing angle of the Black Knight Greataxe. The next match is against the Dranghammer wielder with Dark Moonblade. I land the timed R1 combo, causing him to roll away. I then try a backstepping attack, miss. We roll around for a bit, not really doing a lot. I then try a reverse backstepping attack, miss, roll, and land the 270-degree no lock on. When using no lock on, the unpredictability of this weapon is amazing. The next attack I'll be talking about is the one-handed R2. This is a two-part attack that is of course chargeable. The first part is a jumping attack while the follow-up is a lateral chop. This move is great for roll punishes, closing the gap, it has a fast recovery time for parry baits. The follow-up attack is great if you bait with the jump. When fully charged, the jumping attack has more distance, the hyper armor starts when your feet leave the ground, and on the second attack, the hyper armor starts about 25% of the way through your swing. In this fight, I start by reverse backstepping to try to close the ground, but he rolls out of it. I then lock on and do a jumping attack and land it. I throw a reactive parry like a scrub. Surprised by the damage, he rolls away. Seeing the weapon art stance, I throw another R2 and land it. I go for the third R2 attack and almost get punished for it. I throw a final R2, this time as a parry bait, and get the riposte kill shot. Actually eating me is denial. The next attack I'll be talking about is the rolling R1. This is a lateral chopping attack. This move is great for closing the range, parry baits, roll punishes. Also is a good follow-up attack, but it'll drain a shitload of stamina, and the hyper armor for this move starts almost immediately after the roll. This fight is against the Moonlight Greatsword caster. I reverse backstep to close the ground. He goes for that charged R2 attack and misses. I go for the rolling attack and miss. I try another reverse backstab miss, but use it as a fake out to get the timed roll punish, trapping him with an R1 hit check, causing him to fuck up his R2 special and take an R1 to the face. I'm out of stamina, so I hold back at this point. I see that he's spamming the roll, so I take my lock off and throw a single roll attack. I then mix it up with a roll and roll attack and leave him near death. I see him panic rolling, he throws a hit check R1 but rolls out of it, so I kill him with my kunai. I'm not that good at the reverse backstepping yet, but if you learn how to do it better, it could be more feasible for you. The next attack I'll be talking about is the two-handed R1. This is a big golf club-like swing for the first attack and a huge overhead slice for the second. I find this move extremely useful. It's a no lock on God. I find it great for roll punishes, good for almost every follow-up. It's a shield crusher due to the poise damage of the weapon, no lock on back protection capabilities, and there's hyper armor in 80% of the animation, the least amount being between the two swings. I start this fight by throwing a dual charm to hurry his slow ass up, which makes him rush in, allowing me to land the two-hit combo. He then spams the roll button and tries to follow up with a curved sword weapon art. I see this coming, swinging early to engage my hyper armor and landing the second overhead R1, but he denies death, so I hit him with the kunai. When using the two-handed R1, keep in mind the hyper armor and the timing for the move to utilize it properly. Next up is a mirror match. This time when I initiate with the reverse backstep, I actually land it, causing him to throw a what the fuck hit check. I totally messed this part up, so I try run buffing before going with the two-hit guarantee. Devastating damage. He tries a couple rolls, and then a throwing knife. We then roll around for a bit, not really doing anything. He then run buffs and tries to combo it together with a two-hit, so I hit him with an uppercut and finish him off. Keep in mind that if you don't time your R1s properly, the punishment for it will be drastic. Next up is the two-handed R2. This is another two-part attack. The first being a huge dig into the ground that has stagger ability, with a huge uppercut. The next part of the move is the landing of the axe head behind you, with the main swing being an ultra great sword style uppercut. The hyper armor for this move is tricky. There's about 5 frames when the axe first digs into the ground, and you're open until you release the uppercut. Even then, it's until it's over your waist till it's over your head, and that's a small window. The second part of this attack is an overhead slice. The hyper armor for this starts just after the R2 is released. This move is good for roll punishes, linking together combos at the risk of stamina drain. The mix-up game on this is amazing due to the two-part attack. The no lock-on on this is fucking insane, and it's amazing for parry punishes. I start this match by waiting for this twat to buff his weapon. I don't even know what to say about this fucking guy. It takes him 6 goddamn seconds to buff his fucking weapon. I throw a dual charm after doing a weapon switch to keep up on my mix-ups. People might say that's a dishonorable move. Those people can fuck right off. I throw a hit check R1 at this fucker, but he seems to want to run around like a fool. A chase ensues. I throw a hit check, miss, get an L1. I get tired of this, so I throw a no lock on rolling R1, getting the Phantom Stagger, and linking it together with a 270-degree R1 strike, utilizing that no lock on. At this point, the fucker decides to try a weapon art, so I punish a sloppy play with a no lock on R1, rolling attack. I then throw 2 hit checks, 1 rolling, 1 regular, both miss. And I'm all out of stamina, allowing me to walk out of his weapon art instead of doing another attack. I then lock on charge my R2 and get punished for it instantly. The player tries another mix-up to a short sword and parry shield, so I charge my R2 once again, this time landing it due to the dash attack direction. The rolling R2 is not my cup of Estus. It's very readable, and the hyper armor on it's not too long, but it does have its uses, as it is a slow downward chop with the spear tip of the axe. This fight, I start with a rolling attack. I then throw out an R1 hit check that baits the player into a katana running attack that gets parry, but the player survives. I threw out that parry as soon as he drew his hand back. I try some mix-ups with the kunai, weapon switches, some R1 two-hands. The other player's mix-up game is better and I get hit with the Twin Prince's swords, weapon art R1. I try to keep time with this fucker, and as they throw out the weapon art R2, this allows me to land the rolling attack kill shot. The weapon art for the Black Knight Greataxe is pretty good. The first initial roar has a phantom stagger I use as a combo breaker, and the actual attack, one-handed or two-handed, is fucking devastating with hyper armor through almost all of the swings. This is a two-part attack that is of course chargeable. This is good for parry baits, roll punishes due to the running animation. It's good for closing the neutral ground. There's devastating DPS. The hitbox on it's kind of weird, but it's very punishable due to the amount of swings and the amount of stamina it uses. This match is against the caster with soul squeeze, so I go out of range to break his lock on. I then try a running attack that gets countered with a rolling attack. I roll out and we're back to neutral. Not much happens, just some scrubbery on both parts. I try jumping attacks parry bait, but it gets red, and he comes in with an R2 counter. I try to roll and catch the player with an R1, but I'm too slow. He then tries to mix it up with some Farron darts and comes running in, so I hit him with the war cry and get him with the no lock on R1. Can you see the amount of stamina drain and damage that that weapon does? Not a lot happens in the neutral game. He tries some more Farron darts and some running, so I try my weapon art and miss both R2s. Eating a rolling attack in the process. We go back to neutral. He's running, so I throw an R1 hit check. It misses. He comes running in and rolls out of the war cry. But this time I land the R2 weapon art. I go back to neutral and he goes back to running. The player then goes for a fair and sword attack and misses, so I come in with the running attack. I then try a reverse backstepping attack and miss and get punished for it. At this point I do a bunch of rolling and try some reverse backstepping. The first one actually works in my favor, so I decide why not do a shitload of them. I try doing the actual attack, miss, I try the attack again, fuck it up, so he comes running in and expects me to do the parry. I see this coming, so I do my war cry, miss my R2, say screw it because he's still doing the parry, do another war cry, land the backswing, roll out of his R1, bust out my parry shield, throw a parry to mess with him, and then roll out of his Moonlight Greatsword attack. I then finish him off with the two-handed weapon art R2. The rolling R2 attack is much better than the rolling R1 attack. It's an overhead lateral chop with the hyper armor engaging after you release the R2. Being an R2 attack, this move is of course chargeable. This move is good for roll punishes, mix-ups, and attack baiting. Start this fight with War Cry combo, but I miss. Almost getting punished for it. I take out my parry shield, charge the War Cry, this time landing it dead on. This scares the shit out of the guy, causing him to roll out naturally. Takes out the Cestus, which I don't respect, obviously, doing the R2s, but he does catch me in the face. I do one rolling charge to R2, but I miss. Then I follow up and charge it a little more, this time getting the guillotine kill shot. The jumping attack, which is similar to the R2 one-handed, is a very useful move. This move is good for parry baits and roll punishes, but it leaves you open to backstabs. This next fight I throw a couple of random attacks to give the appearance of a scrub. I see the player buff his weapon mid-fight. Bullshit. I think that weapon's buff gives you HP leech. Next I switch to my Cestus and throw out a random parry. The guy doesn't respect it, so he comes in swinging wildly. Comes in with the rolling attack but misses all that, so he switches to the one-handed. Come in with the parry bait, boom, get the parry and the kill shot. This fight is against an R1 spammer, surprise surprise. I start the fight by throwing a dual charm at him. I then follow up with an R2 attack. Missing of course. I then try another R2 attack, this time landing it. I also eat an attack on the way in, but I think I win that exchange. I try another R2 attack, missing of course, but the seed is planted in his mind that he could hit me. So then I charge this one a little bit, jumping a little further, of course getting the parry this time. And the kill shot. The last thing I'd like to go over is my build. I'm level 125 with 40 vigor, 10 attunement, my endurance is 34, my vitality is 24, my strength is 40, my dex is 40, my intelligence is 9, my faith is 9, and my luck is 7. My total AR is 672. I use the Black Knight Greataxe, of course, with the Simple Cestus, the Black Handset with the Thief Mask, the Chloranthy Ring +2, the Hornet Ring, the Ring of Favor +2, and of course the Ring of Steel Protection +2. This video is rather long, so if you're still here, I hope you enjoyed it. It's far from perfect, I know. So if there's any changes you think I should make, please let me know in the comments section. Also, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Stay salty, my friends. Lord of Hollows, offline.